Hey, everybody, this is Bill from the Bill Heenan team over at William Ravis Real Estate, and today is June 9th, Thursday, and I wanted to take a moment and dig into the data and give you my monthly market update. We've heard a lot about the rise in interest rates and how that was slowing the market down nationally, and how the pending boom was coming. The boom and doom, I guess you would say, is coming. But it's kind of interesting. I dug into some of the markets that I typically pay most attention to the data in, and the numbers don't indicate that at all at this point. One of the data points that I like to pay most attention to, and actually a lot of relocation companies pay most of the attention to, is what is the absorption rate. And the absorption rate is basically how many homes have sold in a block of time versus how many homes have sold, or how many homes are for sale. So in this case, I use 90 days, and I like to use 90 days because 90 days is not only the longest period of a contract period, so I can include the pending units as well and come up with a true understanding of how many homes are selling per month. And at the beginning of this, or as we traveled through the pandemic and the housing demand became so robust, we were down to in some cases, 7-10 days of inventory. But as I look at the data today, it's actually still really, really good. I mean, most markets, most towns are down to about 2 weeks of inventory, which is a very, very strong seller's market. I think the worst one that I found in my quick look was East Lyme is down to a 4-week inventory absorption scenario. But listen, they've sold 164 units in 90 days, and they have 51 units for sale, which gives them 4 weeks of supply. But if you really dig into those numbers, you would see that most of the supply is above 700 grand. If you do the same search and take above 700 grand out of that search, you're back down to a 2 week of absorption, 2 weeks of supply. And if you look in Waterford, you find the same thing, 123 units, 20 over 90 days, 24 units for sale, 2 weeks of supply. If you move over to Montville, you have 103 units have sold in 90 days, 14 units are for sale, 10 days of supply. And the most interesting one, because sometimes, or actually not sometimes, most of the times when we see the slowdown from the northern part of the county down towards the shoreline. And it affects the northern towns first, or the northern cities in this case first. I was surprised to find that Norwich actually have sold 247 units over 90 days, has only 39 units for supply, and has down to a 2 week of supply when you consider the absorption rate. So there is no indication of a slowdown. And as I said here, no slowdown yet. Now, if we talk about units that have sold this year to this time versus last year to this time, there's definitely been less homes have sold. But that's only because we've had less homes to sell. The buyer demand has been off the hook, and we just haven't had enough homes to sell in order to maintain that buyer demand. So we're down probably in most cases, in most towns, between 15 and 30% the amount of units sold for the year. But like I said, that's because we just haven't had enough homes to sell. So once again, now, what do I think the projection is? I think as these rates continue to rise, 5.5, they're somewhere around right now. And if they rise over 6%, definitely that's going to increase, or that's going to decrease the buyer demand, and we're going to see a slowdown. The slowdown is definitely coming. And the feds have made it clear that they are going to slow this demand down. I think that our local demographics, we're very fortunate. We have a lot of job supply here, which ultimately drives the real estate market. But if I was to project or guess at when the most significant slowdown is going to happen, it's going to happen this winter, right? It only makes sense that the winter being the slowest market of the year generally as it is. Now you have inventory building during the winter, you have buyer demand falling off as is typical for the season, then you also have buyer demand falling out further because the rates are rising above 6%. It would probably give us a good guesstimate that winter could be a significant slowdown. So that's where we're at. The market's still a very strong seller's market. If you're thinking about making a move, if you're looking for some help or have some questions about selling your home, or if you're a buyer looking for some help, because buyer representation is critical these days, then feel free to visit us on our website at www.billheenan.net, or you can always reach out to me on my cell phone directly at 860 460-8053. I always look forward to your call. And remember, in today's market, it truly takes a team to win. Hey guys, thanks for watching my latest video. And if you want to stay informed on any new videos that I load in the coming days, weeks, and year, feel free to click that subscribe button on my lower left-hand side and your lower right-hand side of your screen. And remember, in today's market, it takes a team to win.